So welcome back, everyone, and thank you for joining again. So this morning we kind of discuss the three forces of power, the practice from Lojong, remained from yesterday, and then we started how to establish everyday kind of daily practice. And we start with talking, cultivating the right intention motivations, starting the day. Also, according to some, masters, it would be nice to start when you get up. The first thing moment you get up, is being very, grateful that we are able to wake up today and we're alive today, because so many people who went to bed yesterday together at the same time, many of them never woke up, and we could have been one of them. Unfortunately, lucky, we're still alive, feeling grateful, gratitude. If nothing else, at least we are still alive, And so starting the day with that kind of feeling of grateful and gratitude, instead of starting the day feeling, kind of complaining, or this, I have to go and do this and that, or, life is not easy, or, so much challenges, this and that, instead of starting the day with that kind of, mind, it's always much more better to start with a much more positive mind, more optimistic, more positive mind, and just being grateful that we are still alive. One of the teachings the Buddha said, if things are not going so well in our life, a lot of challenges, feel grateful and thankful. At least you have a good health. At least you have a good health. And if we are struggling with the health, if we have some problem with the health, again, Buddha said, again, try to reflect and think, even I have a health problem, at least I'm alive. So always, looking positively, it could have been much worse. It could have been much more worse than our present situation, whatever difficult situation is, It could have been much more worse. It's possible, but we're so lucky, grateful, thankful, as much as we have those difficulties, challenges, is not as worse than as it could be. And through that understanding, through that reflection, contemplation, feeling positive, grateful, and thankful, and to start the day with that, it would be great. And so that is one, when you wake up, feeling grateful, thankful, I'm alive, and so that kind of that is one of the things that one could start with, Wouldn't that be wonderful if we could start every day with feeling so grateful, gratitude, thankful, And then, of course, we spoke about cultivating the motivations. And then, we need to take care of things, whether you need to use your bathroom, shower, brushings, that is that is things that we do every day, every morning after you get up. Some people might do earlier than others, but definitely, those are the things that some of the activities that we engage every day, no matter where we go. And again, while we do those kind of activities, how to transform, make them more meaningful, helpful, and again, applying practice while you are doing that, when you take a shower, there are many different practices. One practice, one we can try to do is, you can visualize Bodhisattva or any of the deity, any of the Buddhas, and then, from their heart, their wisdom, enlightened, compassionate wisdom, energy flow in the form of, the water, and then cleansing and purifying all our negativities while we're taking the showers, so all the sickness, all the negative karma, all the delusions, all the obscurations, completely being cleansed and purified, washing it away, and not by ordinary water, but it is a enlightened, compassionate wisdom water, energy, and then cleansing and purifying all our negativities. So again, we can use that. We can use while you are doing the shower. And you can do Vasadava mantras as a purifications. While you do that, you can do the long one, you can do the short ones, or you can do any other particular mantras that you feel, connected, which you feel connected with yourself, helpful, beneficial. So you can do while you recite that, while you take the shower, you can visualize and do that practice, and also we can also use the why that all these negativities has been cleansed and purified that by enlightened compassionate wisdom energy, and it transformed into something positive. All this negative energy is transformed by that enlightened wisdom, compassionate wisdom energy, transformed into something beneficial, positive, and then it bless the whole place, the whole earth. As the water go down, blessing everything that is there, all the sentient beings that live in that, the whole planet, the whole place that the water goes inside, it bless everything. So blessing the whole place, so you can do that kind of practice, applying the practice while you do that, while we try to use the restroom, to clean our stomach, all the garbage that we have collected after eating throughout the day, we have to clean that every day, we have to clean the stomach, all the garbage in that. So again, while we clean up that, again, we can do similar, visualizations, light coming, flowing from the deity, the Buddhas. Again, same, enlightened, compassionate, wisdom energy, and entering through our crown, entering our whole body, and then again, cleansing and purifying all the negative karma, all the delusion, all the obscurations, but in the form of all this, in the form of urine, in the form of kaka, all of that, cleansing and purifying all of them. and healing our body, healing our body. And receiving the blessings, and filled with our whole body, filled with all the blessings, and all this negativity is being completely cleansed and purified. As early, again, it's been transformed, having transformed into something positive, good, then flush it away, flush it away, cleanse completely. And then again, through that, transforming the environment, the place. And sometimes, maybe we might not be able to remember some of those practices. So sometimes it might be good to have a small notes in your restroom to remind you of the practice each time you go there. Of course, this is just one, what do you call, one suggestions of one of the practice that you can apply. It doesn't mean that is the only practice, There could be many different practices that one can be working on, or someone who feels more strongly connected to one particular practice. So you can apply any of those practices while you are doing those things, While you are doing shower, while you are doing the, using the restroom, you can also think of emptiness. You can also think of bodhicitta mind, all of that, You can do mindful meditation while you do that, Washing it very mindfully, using the restroom very mindfully, being in the moment, and being aware of every movements, every movements of your body, inside, outside, being aware of your thoughts, feeling at that moment. So again, there are so many different practices one can use, but purifying practice is kind of related, because when we purify, we visualize cleansing all negativity in the form of blood pass and stain and dirt. And so therefore, since we are taking shower and things, it become more related. So you can do but so that would be one of the practice, and then brushings, we of course we do the brushings. And then when you do the brushings, again, you can visualize, not just cleaning your teeth external, but you can also visualize, think that, you are cleaning internal stain, internal dirt, the internal dirts of, again, all the afflictive emotions, such as anger, attachment, ignorance, pride, jealousy, And so while you are brushing, is still you are practicing the Dharma. You are reminding of the needs to, is a kind of reminder, refreshing, the purpose of our life. The purpose of our life is to clean all these afflictive emotions, negative emotions, because that is the root of the suffering for ourselves. It's the root of suffering that we cause for others. So because of those delusions, not only we suffer ourselves, because of those delusions, that is why we hurt others, why we harm others, because of those delusions. And so again, each time we remind of ourselves while you are washing, or, I'm not just washing and brushing and cleaning my teeth external, but more than that, is I need to also clean. I need to also clean and wash my internal dirt stains, my internal dirt and stains, And then as we brush and as we wash our mouths, and face, you can think, visualize you are cleansing, purifying, all of them, And again, the toothbrush that we use, or the soap, water we use for cleaning, we can all visualize. Those are not just ordinary soap, not just ordinary toothbrush, but you can think those are, enlightened, compassionate wisdom, because that is what we need, compassionate and wisdom, enlightened, compassionate wisdom to cleanse and purify all the internal dirts, Mm. And then, when, as you take shower, whatever, of course, then when you annoy the more lotions, especially in New Mexico, we have to do that, I never used lotion before I came to New Mexico. We never use a lotions, we use just soap, and that is it. But when I first came, people said you have to use a lotion, and I don't feel comfortable, and I never used. I don't know, I don't need to use it. But then I realized why I need to use it. It's so dry, I didn't figure out after, I started getting kind of itchy everywhere, my body started getting itchy. And I thought, maybe something wrong with my bed sheet. I changed them, everything's. I took another showers. And later I realized it is because of dryness, because I haven't been using the lotions. So I haven't been, because of that, the dryness, And so anyway, so here we have to use the lotions. So, and of course, most people use anyway lotion, So again, when you use the lotion, when you anoint the lotions, again, while we are trying to use that, again, we can think and visualize, it's not just ordinary lotions, to make your skin more soft, and, making your skin soft, more moisture, so from being too dry and cracking up and having itching and all different things, but you can also think, is kind of softening your mind, not only just softening your physical body, but it's softening your mind, your heart, it's a moisturizing your mind, your heart, So, and again, reminding ourselves, not only I need to use the lotion to softening my skin, but I also need to use the internal lotions of compassion and wisdom, to to softening of our heart, our mind, to make our mind more soft, more warm, more gentle, more kind, more compassionate, Not only just to moisture our body, but also reminding ourselves that I need to work with my mind to moisture my own mind, my own potentials that we all have, the nature of our mind, the basic nature of all sentient beings is goodness, compassionate, altruistic. So we just need to water it. We need to water it so it can grow and blossom to its full potentials. And so again, reminding ourselves that I need to water it, moisture it, And then we can also think, visualize, imagine, moisturing that. So we can use that. Of course, when we are, using the lotion, whatever. Most people, I'm sure that you have the what you call the mirror in the bath in your bathroom, and you wash ourselves. Again, reminding ourselves when you wash there, just as the image of me appear in that mirror, or image of my body, me appear in that. And even though it feel like there's a real me within that image, but it is just a appearance. There's no real me in the mirror. It's just a reflection of me by coming together of many causes and conditions. My own body, myself. There's the mirror that is made up of many different things, so that it has that ability or that functioning of to be able to reflect the object in that clarity. And not only that, the mirror is kind of not dirty enough, clean enough to reflect it. So due to all many causes and conditions coming together, then there's a reflections of yourself. But there's no real, even though it appeared there's real you inside, but no real. And just like that, by looking at that, then it trying to use that to meditate on emptiness. Even though, just like that reflections, even though all the objects, all the phenomena, myself, my experience, my body, everything that is surrounding me, everything that I can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, that everything I can think about, all of them, even though they appear to exist inherently by itself, from itself, but nothing exists as real as it appears them to exist. Just like a reflect, just like the image of my image of image of mind in the reflections. And all these objects, myself, my body, my experience, everything that is surrounding me, everything that I see, hear, smell, taste, touch, everything that I think, all of them are only able to exist and able to function by depending on many cause, condition, many factors. Just a reflections, how it reflect by many cause and conditions coming together. Just like everything exists, only the through coming together of many cause, condition, and many factors. So, and just as the way things exist in the reflections, the way it exists and the way it appears, there's a difference between the appearance and the way things really exist. In appearance, it feels like, you are in that mirror. You are in that mirror in appearance, but in reality, you are not in the mirror. In reality, you are not in the mirror, but in appearance, it appears like you are in the mirror. Just like that, just as there's a difference between the appearance and the way appearance, that mirror, and the way it exists, same way, all phenomena, everything's external, internal, samsara, nirvana, everything's, there's two reality, the reality of appearance and the reality of the way things they exist. There's appearance of, there's reality, one level of reality, that is the appearance. And there is another reality that is beyond the reality, that is the way thing actually exists. And so therefore, we shouldn't be fully trusting that just the appearance itself. Instead, we have to find out what is how the thing how the thing actually exists beyond the mirror or beyond the appearance. And so through that, because in teachings, we talk about, all emptiness and like reflections in the mirror or reflections in the water and many other different examples, dreams, illusions, mirage and all of that. So every day we look in that mirror every day. Probably we do 2-3 times. Every time we go in the bathroom, So each time you see that, by looking at that, reminding ourselves, by using that example of the image in the mirror or reflections in the mirror, and to understand the emptiness. So already, we have already meditated so much. Waking up and going to the bathroom, taking shower, we have done so much practice already. There is more practice than we do now. So again, as I mentioned yesterday, practice doesn't have to be on the cushions. For more, with each of those things we do every day, if we can apply that in each of them, even we cannot go details, like, I of course, like in this, with the emptiness things, I went kind of more explanation, but even we cannot spend so much time, but just to remind ourselves, everything is just like the reflections. All phenomena are just like the reflections of me in the mirror. And just reminding ourselves that the nature of all phenomena are just like that. They are just like the reflections of me in the mirror. Then I don't know, many of you might be setting up offerings. If you have setting offering, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. It's a good, if you feel connected. Of course, every practice you do, you have to learn, you have to study, and then you see whether you feel connected. If you feel connected, then it's do. But even after studying and learning what's the meaning of all those different kind of practice, and if it doesn't connect, then of course, that is something else. You have to find something that connects you. But if it's connect, then it is good to have the offerings, such as 7 set of water balls offerings, light offerings, incense, flowers, if you can, every day. If you cannot, at least you can try to have, the seven water ball offerings. Or even you can't have 7, you can even have 1, 2. The best is to 7. That is more traditional way. It represents, but if you don't have, it's also okay. You can just do 1. There are some practice, because, of course, we try to practice from everywhere, speech, physically and mentally. Main practice, of course, mentally. The main practice is to do with our mind. If you don't have, then also, there are some stories of some of the teachers. There was one Lama, Tukang Gyatso, one of the great masters in Tibet, great meditator, great realized being. So when he was meditating in the hermitage, he didn't have anything. So he has one kind of cup, that he used to drink tea. And so when he drink tea, he drink and then he clean well and he pour water and he make offering there. And then when he need to drink, he asks permissions to use for him to drink. So he used that one to offer and use for himself when he need. And such is the practitioner that they did. And same with, many practitioners like that. So in his cases, he has only one, one cup, but the point is, if you can set up offerings, arrange offerings and make offering every morning, that is wonderful, Instead of rushing for our own, by doing that, we think of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, before we think of ourselves. Normally, we go and think of ourselves to have a coffee. After your, wash, brushings, shower, whatever, first thing is, oh, I need a coffee. Or I need a tea, or whatever. First, it comes about me, what I need. But instead, we try to do, we think of the enlightened beings, the refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, before ourselves, and we try to make offering to them before we even, so that is we try to set up the offerings if you have. Yeah. I don't know, I think many of you probably know, but since I've already talked about offering, so maybe I should, and 7 water bowls, so maybe I should just mention without going details, There are 7 kind of, traditionally we set up 7 water bowls, and it represents 7 different offerings. It represents 7 different offerings. And it's a kind of
Did he freeze?
I think so.
Okay. It's from his side. You're okay, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can see you. Hi, Jackie.
He said it was cold there, so obviously he froze.
You're funny. Catherine, make sure you send us a more recent picture of Whitney.
Oh, yes. I'll bring him on maybe at some point too, so you could see him.
That'd be great.
Yes, please.
I was just getting into the 7 offerings, and also finally someone's going to explain about the water bowls, or going to clarify some questions in my mind. So I hope he comes back.
I thought you were just going to pick up, Jackie.
I'm so lazy. I just put some perfume bottles on the altar. Jewelry, things I don't have to do much for maintenance, right? But it's beautiful and they love it.
It probably smells good.
Well, I hope he comes back. He had a great connection the whole time. It seems kind of unusual.
I know the suspense is killing me too.
No, it's true. So Doug, where are you? I like your house. I don't know if it's your house. It looks like a Dharma center.
Yeah, you know what? I'm in Golden, but I spent most of my life, adult years in New Orleans. So this is just a picture of a house in New Orleans. It's not mine. I just like the colors and everything. So I use that for a backdrop. It's more interesting than my wall. So I just,
Yes.
all
Oh,
the-
you got me fooled.
yeah,
That's like an appearance of a little purple and yellow green wall. That's funny.
yeah,
But you're here in Golden, huh?
yeah.
From Green Mountain, not too far away.
Oh, you're real close. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone have a way to phone Geshe-la or?
I do. I can text him.
Yeah, now,
Oh, there
There
he
he
is. Welcome back.
Yay.
thank you. I don't know.
Yay.
It went blank. I don't know. The light, I don't know whether the light went. And then once I found it, then I couldn't find the wireless. So anyway,
So the 7 bowls.
yeah, practice. So so we're talking about 7 bowls that represent 7 water bowls that represent different offerings in India when you invite a special guest, important guest. And normally they have, washing water, to wash their feet when they invite, and then drinking water. Then normally they greet with the flowers, garlands of flowers. So these are the 3, 2 waters and the flowers. And then incense, you make an incense in your house. And then the light, dinner light. And then perfume, and then the food itself. So those are the 7. And sometimes you have 8. And also when it's 8, then it represents the music. So 2 waters, flower, incense, light, and perfume, and the food. The actual feast is the food. So it kind of represents that. That's why there is kind of 7. And sometimes you have 8. The 8 one represent the music. So while you are having serve the feast, there's music. So of course it is that what it represents, but the main thing is, whatever offerings that you like to offer, whether it's the light, so the light, offering the light with the properly in the right intention, with the right way, then it creates cause and condition, a more clear mind, and to cultivate the wisdom, wisdom light. So we can offer light, incense, flowers, food, whatever, or any of those 7 water bowls, or all of them. So set up the offerings, and then you pay homage. You do 3 prostrations. That is paying homage, bowing down to the 3 jewels 3 times, requesting for their blessings. So that our practice meditations can become more successful, less obstacles. Our practice can be better. So, so we make that 3 prostrations, and then if you need to take care of coffee or something that you need, then you do whatever you might need to do, coffee, tea, something to drink. before I don't drink anything before I finish my morning practices. But in recent times, I've been drinking after I set up everything and that, and then do some practice, and then I have lemon and honey with the hot water. So I've been doing that for starting from this year, I guess. So that is my new things. So whatever, if you drink anything, then again we try to make, before we drink ourselves, we try to remember the again three refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and we try to make offering to them. We can imagine, whole space filled with all kind of delicious drink, all kind of delicious drink. In nature, there are, wisdom, realizing the ultimate truth, but in the aspect of different offerings, the drinks, and then making offering to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and then you can visualize them, accepting your offerings delightfully, and then, giving you as a blessings, and then we eat, we drink as a blessing, and then again we use that drinking as a way to make it meaningful. First we offer, and then we take it, we drink it as a blessing. And also it's a good, first you offer to someone, and then you do yourself, instead of, I have to drink myself first, So that helps to be less selfish, where everything has to be me first, because that is how our selfish mind always think, I have to get everything first myself, and then others later. So it's a way of training, others come first, and I can be the later, So first make offering to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, enlightened beings, and then we can take next as a blessing for ourselves. Of course, if there are others in the house where you can offer, of course you offer them first, and then you have and you make offering to the refuge field, and then, or the enlightened beings, or three refuge, and then you drink yourself. And again, for the Buddhas, from their side, they don't mind whether you offer or not. It doesn't make any sense from their side, whether you set up offering every day or you don't set up any offering. From their side, there's no difference from their side. From their side, their love, compassion, doesn't matter whether you offer or whether you criticize them. Whether you praise them, whether you criticize them, whether you make offering to them, whether you don't make offering to them, that doesn't change their love, compassion, unconditional love, compassion, care, But we do that for our own training, for our own creation, our own merit, So that is, like, for example, we do even in many other, in many aspects of our life, Sometimes someone offer me something, Sometimes, I don't need the offering, whether it's food or anything or whatever. But then you take it because it makes them happy. It's more than you. It's, yeah, my mom was, she likes to feed. She's very generous and she likes to feed children, anyone, and sometimes I don't like to eat so much, but my mom want to feed, At the very beginning, I tend to get a little bit irritated, because she keep on pushing, You say you don't want, but she keep on pushing, it's a mom, and so, and later I realized, how much joy she get, how much happy it makes her when she offer and when you accept it, Then I started to, even sometimes maybe I don't like so much, or I'm not interested, but I still kind of take it because it gives her happiness, it gives her joy, mm, and that can be, and that is in one of the bodhisattvas also, secondary vows. It is also, that you shouldn't reject someone's offer, because you are giving them opportunity you should give them opportunity. When someone offers, you should accept, because you are giving them opportunity to practice charity or generosity and make them happy, give them opportunity to create more virtuous merit. So it's not about you, it's about the others, giving opportunity like that. And so similarly like that, similarly, because, and so even it doesn't make difference to the Buddha, but it's part of our training, and creating merit, virtues for ourselves, Mm. They were creating right cause and conditions, creating conducive conditions to have a more success in our practice, more success in our path. So then, it is good to have a formal morning practice, to set up formal morning practice, before you do anything else, before you engage in doing the chores of the day. Because if you are trying to do practice after maybe, let me clean, let me cook, let me do this and that, then, one lead to another lead to, and then you lose your time to do formal practice. So it's good to find a time to do your formal sitting practice in the morning, first things after you set up all of that. And then, if you need to grab a coffee or tea, that's good. Otherwise, you don't have to grab that. So you do your practice meditation, Of course, that kind of practice meditations, can be different for different peoples, different people have different practices, it's not like kind of everyone has to do the same practice, So basically, you have to find a time to do your practice. I would say at least, like 20 minutes, half hour, regularly every day in the morning, 20 minutes, half hour at least, and I don't think that would be asking too much. And I don't think that is something that no matter how busy you are, I don't think that will be something that you cannot find time. I mean, it's all in our mind. We have time for all these kind of news and all other things for hours. And it can't be impossible to find a half hours, 20 minutes for your own practice. You know, if you have good practice morning, that will help you throughout the day. Also, it will help also in home families. When you start that practice, your mind is more calm, peaceful, in a more positive, right state of mind. And so you are less likely to irritate your family. You are less likely to, get irritated by them, because you just have kind of built up. Your practice has made you kind of more peace and calm and more mindful, more in the presence, more being aware. So that helps yourself, and that helps whether it's families, friends, and when you go to the workplace, colleagues, so it helps for everyone. So therefore, it's good to dedicate yourself and be more disciplined with that. No matter where you go, no matter how busy you are, Of course, sometimes when you are traveling, that the practice might not be as good as when you are at home, because but still, whether the practice is as good as normal or not, but keeping that kind of discipline, doing the practice all the time is, I think, important. It is also training and learning to be more disciplined as well. And with that, we develop another qualities, how to be a discipline, whatever we decide. When we want to do something, when we make the decision to do something, then to have the discipline to complete it, to do it. And so it is another training that can be very handy and helpful in our life to build up that kind of discipline, and so, yeah, I think so. Now whether it's his own the lamas and all my teachers and all of them, no matter where they are, no matter how busy they are, they will try to do their practice every day, mm. So in terms of the practice itself, as I mentioned, of course, when you do the practice meditation, setting the motivations, again, bodhicitta motivations, starting the practice of bodhicitta motivations. And, you can spend few times to do on, placement meditations, whether you are watching the breath or whether you use an image to focus on and keep that object in your mind and nothing else. So again, trying to start placement, mental placement, or concentration meditations. And then, it is good to do some analytical meditation, contemplations, analytical. So you try to combine those two practice. One is you spend a few minutes, 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes to improve your concentrations, attentions, by trying to keep your mind to one object, Again, the object can be just a breath, or it can be any image that you are trying to keep in your mind. And then, like 15, 20 minutes of more analytical meditation, analytical contemplation meditations. After setting up the motivation, Bodhicitta motivation, then you try to, do the refuge and Bodhicitta, recite that and try to generate the feeling, and then you can try to do 4 immeasurable, they are short and long, long one and short one, any of them, depending on your time, how much time you have for the practice. If you have little time, if it's only like 20 minutes, half hour, then you can do the short one, The short one is, may all sentient beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May all sentient beings be never separated from happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity and free from attachment to some and hatred to some, So that is the short one. You can try to, while you recite, you try to feel it, More than the reciting is that feeling of that, Wishing all sentient beings to have happiness cause and free from suffering, cause of suffering, And then you can do the whatever main practice of the meditation you do, If you are doing in relation to certain deities, sadhanas, then you can do that, If you are not doing that, then if you are doing, you can do some Lamrim meditations, And if you are doing Lamrim meditations, then, Lamrim is the stages of the path, So there are many different meditations and practice that lead to the next stages of practice and meditations, So if you are doing a Lamrim meditations, of course you have only certain time. You can't do all the whole Lamrim meditation in one sessions because you have only 20 minutes, half hours. So you just focus on one subject. Today, maybe you can just focus on one subject for a week. On that same subject, you do same meditation. And then for next week, you do the second topic of that subject. And then the third weeks, for one whole week, then you do the third, for example, in terms of Lamrim, first week, you try to meditate on Guru devotion for 1 week. Then second, for 1 week, you try to meditate on precious human rebirth. For 1 week, you meditate on impermanent, spiritual death, impermanent, Then for 1 week, you meditate on the suffering of the lower rebirth. Then 1 week, you meditate on refuge, And then for 1 week, then you meditate on the nature of samsara, suffering nature of samsara. Then for 1 week, then you meditate on, bodhicitta. And then the next week, you meditate on, emptiness, like that, So then once you go to the whole subject of the Lamrim, then again you come back from the very beginning. And so that is one way of that, how you can do it. The point is that you spend enough to contemplate and do the analytical meditation for 15, 20 minutes, half hour. So you really started to feel it, it doesn't just become dry, but you actually started to feel that so And then the end of the practice, then you try to do a short dedications, short dedications. Oh, I forgot to mention, again, if you feel connected and if you feel beneficial, then there are certain practice before we actually start again in the morning, after we do the motivations and refuge and refuge and bodhicitta and Purifying, then you can try to bless speech. There is some mantra to bless your speech. And again, there is a booklet you can get from FMD website in PDF. It's called Transforming Suffering into the Happiness, something like that. It is called the method to transform a suffering life into happiness, including enlightenment. So it's kind of compiled, put together by Lama Rinpoche. And at the end, there is some mantra to bless the speech. So it will be, if we can recite that, that will be helpful, beneficial. Of course, if you feel connected, and again, some of those mantras, it says 3 times. If you can do 3 times, good. If you can't, I say even just doing 1 time. If you don't have too much time, just doing one of them also be helpful, beneficial. So it is the benefit of some of the mantras and to kind of bless your speech, and that your speech become more virtuous, and any kind of mantras or virtues you do, it multiplies because of that, and so there are those benefits. So again, and that will just add you up, maybe 2-3 minutes. You can do that in 2-3 minutes, so that wouldn't take too much time. So you can do the blessings of the speech, and then you do the Lamrim practice. Again, when you do the Lamrim practice, it is if you have time, it's good to invoke the merit field, and then visualize the merit field, and then you do 7-limb practice, and if possible, long, short mandalas, and then requesting for the blessings, and then from the heart of the merit field, the Buddhas, their enlightened compassionate wisdom flow in the form of white light, nectar, cleanse oneself of all the negative energies such as sickness, all the negative karma, delusion, obscurations, and especially all the obscuration to cultivate all this realization, and especially whatever you are focusing on, that if you are meditating on good devotions, especially the obstacles to have realization of good devotion have been cleansed and purified. If you are meditating on precious human rebirth, then you visualize especially all the obstacles to have the realization of precious human rebirth have been cleansed and purified. If you are meditating on bodhicitta, then all the obstacles and negative energy, especially all the obstacles to have bodhicitta realization and cleansed and purified. So you just change that a little bit. And then receiving all the blessings of enlightened body, speech, and mind, and all the realization, and especially, whatever you are meditating on, the realization that has been received, you receive that. And then once you do that, visualizations and that, then you actually start on the main body of the meditation, whatever you are meditating. And when you meditate using contemplations or analytical meditation, we do that analytical to come to certain certainty or certain conclusions. You use all these different reasoning, logics, investigations, analysis, and we also use to support that kind of different examples, especially if we have an example that is related to our own direct experiences, that relate to that subject, bringing those examples. And sometimes if they help, to use certain quotations from the teacher's master, that you have a strong kind of feelings, trust, to support that. And then at the end of that meditations, through that kind of analysis, then you come to certain conclusions, certain point. And once you have come to that point, then you just try to keep that feeling that lead to, through those different investigation, analyze, it lead to certain feeling, whether it's a feeling of faith, whether it's a feeling of compassion, whether it's a feeling of, non-existence, of inherent existence, whether it's feeling of that everything's impermanent, ever-changing nature. So whatever different meditations lead to different kind of understanding and feeling. And once you have that understanding and feeling, then you just try to remain in that feeling, in that understanding. And so that is how, you do the analytical meditations that lead to certain conclusions, certain understanding, certain feelings. Once you come to that, then you just try to keep that feeling, that understanding, that conclusions, and you just hold in your mind without any more analysis. You just try to hold, For example, if we are doing any of those analytical meditations, contemplation meditations, for example, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, all of them, you try to think of pain and suffering of others. And you try to think and you feel the pain and suffering of others. By being able to understand and feel the pain and suffering of others, and to feel connected with them, then you feel their pain unbearable, as though it is your own pain and your own suffering. And when you feel that it is like almost like your own pain and your own suffering, you unbearable, you have the wish to be free of that pain and suffering. So when you have that strong wish to be free of the pain and suffering of that sentient beings, that wish, that compassionate mind that want to see, that wish and that want to see the person be free from the suffering, the cause of suffering. So you try to hold on that feeling. First you do that, contemplating and meditating on their pain and suffering, understanding and feeling. And once you feel, through that, once you feel that the compassionate feeling, wanting them to be free from that, then you hold on that feeling, It remain in that feeling as much as possible. And that is same with all different analytical meditation of all the lumbering meditations, except for the single pointed concentrations. All the other, and it's same with the faith to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. We think of incredible qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, all their incredible qualities. As you reflect on their qualities and their kindness, the more you contemplate, realize, understand their incredible powerful qualities, then you started to feel, more confidence, more faith, more trust in them. And once you have that strong faith, strong trust, that confidence, then you try to hold on that faith, that trust, that confidence. As long as possible, you hold on that feeling of trust, confidence, and faith. And so that is, we do that kind of same to all different meditations. I'm just kind of, there is in that Lama Soba's method to transform suffering life into happiness. In the morning, there is a beginning of kind of short lumbering verses of meditations. And I'm just kind of debating whether I should go that one or not. Go through that or not. So I guess maybe if you have the documents, I wonder whether we should go through quickly. Maybe it might be a good, and then the essence of encompassing all the Buddhas, originator of all the holy Dharma of scripture and realization, principle of all the Arya intending the virtues, in the glorious Holy Guru, I take refuge. So that one is, in Lamrim. So going to the refuge and to the Guru, the holy Gurus means all the lineage Gurus and direct Gurus, So we have the Gurus from which we receive teachings and oral transmissions and empowerment and so forth directly, or precepts and so forth, those Gurus. And lineage Gurus that we don't have direct connection, but the teacher of our teachers and teacher of teachers, and from the beginning Buddhas. So that is, and by seeing, that Guru is, all Buddhas, in comparison, all the Buddhas, in energy is all the Buddhas, same energy, but in manifesting in that form for us, also it is the origin of all Dharma, scripture, and realization, because from the Gurus that we receive the teachings, all the Dharma teachings we receive from the Guru. And once we receive that, then we practice, and by practicing that, then we cultivate realizations. And so therefore all our Dharma scriptures, the studies, and through studies and practice, then we have realization, all of them coming from the Gurus. Principle of all Aryas, intending virtues, and Aryas are those who have direct realization of emptiness, who always intending virtues, who always engage in the virtues. So among the Aryas, the principle of then in the glorious Holy Guru, I take refuge, Please Guru, bless me, my mind to become Dharma, Dharma to become path, and the path to be without obstacles. So one explanation of this is, bless my mind to be Dharma, So that means, in order for our mind to be in the Dharma, then that means cultivating the renunciations. Meaning bless me to have renunciations. Renunciation means not being attached to any kind of samsara and samsaric experience and samsaric pleasure, not being attached to them. when you are no more attached to the samsaric pleasure, samsaric experience, samsaric pleasure, and only you think of, inner liberations, freedom, then that is when, so please bless please, bless my mind to become Dharma, so that is what in Dharma, giving up, giving up the attachments in this life and the future life, giving up attachment to all the samsara and samsara experience, or the excellence of the samsara. You are no more attached to the excellence of the samsara. And then, Dharma to become a path means, not only your mind's not being attached to the samsaric pleasure and excellence and have renunciation, but that renunciations, that Dharma to become path to enlightenment. So that is the bodhicitta, Dharma to become path means Dharma to become bodhisattva path. And the Dharma, what make become a bodhisattva path is the bodhicitta, so that our mind turn into the Dharma and that the Dharma turn into the bodhicitta mind, And through that bodhicitta mind, then it becomes the path to enlightenment, the bodhisattva path, the path to enlightenment. And the path to be without obstacles, and the path, be without obstacles can be, the path, the bodhicitta mind that is being supported by the wisdom relies on the ultimate truth or emptiness, And when your realization of emptiness, then it purifies obstacles, So without obstacles. So then, the path, the bodhicitta mind that is being supported by the wisdom, relies on emptiness, the ultimate truth. So with that, then, it becomes three principal aspects of the path: the renunciation, bodhicitta, and wisdom relies on emptiness. Also, the path to be without obstacles, as we are on the path to bodhisattvas, path to enlightenment, without requesting for the blessing to clear and to clear all the obstacles, the obstacles. External obstacles, internal obstacles, secret obstacles, so to be without any obstacles. Okay, so then until I say Buddha would please bless me to be like youthful Norsang and Bodhisattvas, always crying, incorrectly following the virtuous friend with a pure thought and action, seeing whatever is done as pure and accomplish whatever is said to and advise. So then that is, meditation on Guru devotions, by contemplating, again, requesting the blessings, to have realizations in terms of Guru devotions, the realization, like Bodhisattvas who have a strong Guru devotion for the Bodhisattva, always crying. He has a very, very strong devotion towards his teacher, his master, who was another Bodhisattva, Chopa, and youthful Norsang also, he had a very, very strong devotion to his spiritual masters, teachers. So to be able to have a Guru devotion like they have, and to do that, first we need to contemplate on all the positive qualities of the spiritual masters, all their spiritual qualities, all their positive qualities, all the spiritual realizations. The more we contemplate, the more we think of them, the more we feel, faith, trust in them. And then we also contemplate on their kindness in guiding us, in supporting us, in helping us. And, through that, then we develop a strong respect, sense of feeling of kindness. And through that kindness, feeling of closeness and respect. And so then through that meditation, then it comes to, feeling of very strong faith, devotions, and feeling of very strongly connected kindness and respect. And then once you have that, then you will try to hold on that feelings of the devotions, the faith, the respect. But first we do the analyzing and contemplating, by recollecting and remembering all their qualities, positive qualities. The more we are able to do that, the more we are able to contemplate more that, the more we feel strongly in terms of faith, devotions, and respect. And so that is. So I think maybe today maybe I will stop here. So any questions? Questions, comments so far? As today we discuss a lot.
I have a question. Geshe
Yes,
Sherab.
please. Yes, please.
One thing I struggle a lot with is inner conflict. And when I think about kind of working with what's happening in my mind, then it's kind of like me versus it, sort of like a kind of like conflict, a little bit harsh. And can we talk about self-centeredness and I'm sorry, self-centeredness and ignorance, yeah, where are they exactly? Where are they? And
Yeah, in this
how do I treat them and who's treating them? And how do I do it gently? Just, we have 5 minutes. So.
When you are treating those selfish attitude and ignorance, you can be harsh and wrathful with them, but you be gentle with yourself. Okay, it's a different. Your selfish attitude and you are not sane. It's not. Your ignorance, you are not sane. So we have to treat the self, the persons, with kindness, with gentleness, compassion, caring. But when it comes to the selfish itself, when it comes to the ignorance itself, you can be wrathful and harsh, saying, you are the worst of everyone. You are the you are the worst of everyone, everything's. You are the one who is the creator of all the sufferings, problem in the world, on individual level, on collective level, So that is how we try to crush it, by putting it down, and we are not just saying it is the problem in the world is because of those ignorance and that kind of selfish attitude, and so they were being kind of, harsh and wrathful when it comes to the emotion itself is okay. But when it comes to the person who have that emotions, then the sentient beings, then we have to be more kind, compassion, caring.
Is there a mental object you suggest for kind of observing and looking at this ignorance and selfish attitude that sometimes I accidentally am a little harsh with myself when I look at those, and I'm wondering what the object looks like when we're or is it so concise like an object?
Yeah, is the mind, is the mind which feel, I'm the center of everyone's, I'm the center of the world, I'm the most important than anyone else, So that mind is the one that self-centered or selfish attitude or self-centeredness. And so that is not yourself, it's one part of your mind. So therefore, when you watch them, when you look at them, because you don't feel that all the time. Sometimes you feel, others important than yourself. Whether it's sometimes you might feel, your friends more important than yourself. There are times all your families, your partners, all your pet, So there are times when we do feel, but that is not the way we feel all the time. So therefore, you are not a selfish itself. It is selfish attitude is one of a mental state, and so you have to differentiate those two things. When you are watching at that, you have to watch on that part of the mind, or the emotion, or that part of the mental state. So it is not yourself. So that you don't mix up to that being yourself, and then because you are trying to be harsh on that, then becoming harsh on yourself. That. So if you distinguish those two things, then you don't have to be harsh on yourself. Yeah.
Any other questions? Would you like to submit in the chat field too? That's a good way to submit questions as well.
I don't know if this is a question but it just reminded me, being Catholic, we had the idea of exorcism. And I believe in some of the Tibetan culture, you have exorcism of demons. And it's like that self-cherishing attitude. It's like that demon that comes, it sort of clings to me, but it's not me. I have to kind of be harsh and push the demon away. So I'm exercising that self-cherishing attitude, at the same time remembering the little child, the little kid that is Jackie, trying to think of myself as in a gentle kind of way. So it just reminded me of an exorcism when you were talking about, pushing away the self-cherishing mind. That's all.
Okay.
It's a good that you said that, Geshe, because it is two separate things, and we so want to identify all those negative emotions with us. It's that, again, that wrong attitude of wrongly identifying. So I'm so glad you mentioned that it is separate. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your comments on that and with that example. Yeah, I think when you talk about those negative emotions, different negative emotions, and as you see in all the teachings, they are very kind of critical and harsh. But then that is being harsh and critical of that negative emotion itself is not yourself. And so that is the way we have to separate and differentiate that too. And so that is important, that is important. Sometimes when you talk about how horrible, how bad that selfish attitude is, and how harmful, and how it is the source of every problems and this and that. And as Jackie said, if you identify that with yourself, then you become the object of that critical and all this harsh. Then you think, oh, I'm so bad because I'm the source of all the problems. I'm the creator of all the problems and all of that. But if we are able to differentiate that, yourself and your selfish attitude, which is just one of different emotions that you have. You have good emotions. You have also loving kindness, compassion, loving, caring, kind, considerations, all of that. We have also those positive qualities. Not only positive, we also have negative qualities, and among negative qualities, mental state, some of them are much worse than others. And so just being aware of that. And so while you can be harsh on your negative emotions, you can't be harsh on yourself. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll do the dedications. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not burn arise, and may that arise and not decline, but increase more and more. Kati rawe kowe shingam de pendang dewa malu chungwe Chede senwo tinzen gyatso shape sete patu tenju chi. Tonye nyingje sondu jukbe lam cheje saje kanje tendo chana pembe tinzen gyatso la sowa deso shendren lundu sho. Tuzu changshin jamgen jawe ten zong pewe kuso to poze choson kuwe le mo tutu pa da so du che kwendo shape shu. Thank you very much again, everyone. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Let's hopefully see you tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you,
Thank
Geshe.
you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Yes.